Nigel Farage's victory in Clacton, we have to talk about this, is a significant milestone for both him and Reform UK. Winning the Clacton constituency alongside three other Reform MPs in former Conservative strongholds demonstrates a substantial shift in voter loyalty from the Conservative Party to Reform UK. Farage himself, previously unsuccessful in 7 parliamentary bids, count them, 7, claimed his win symbolises the beginning of the end of the Conservative Party. So from Farage's point of view, he's not thinking about union with Suella Braverman or Priti Patel. He's thinking about capitalising on his win, citing the inability of the Conservatives to retain right-wing voters disillusioned by current policies, by current leadership, particularly on immigration. The immigration thing is fascinating because one of the Reform UK wins is in Boston and Skegness. Boston and Skegness doesn't see a lot of, quote, illegal immigration. What it sees is a large influx of migrants, legal migrants from the eastern blocs of Europe, from Poland, from Romania, and this has been an evident feature in the demographic over the last 10 to 15 years. And Reform UK has taken a bedrock in the east of England, in those areas. I mean, I think Reform UK plays a major role in the decapitation of Liz Truss. I can't think of another instance in British politics where a prime minister has a prime minister or a former prime minister has lost their seat so spectacularly. And Conservative MPs talked about reform in my constituency as if it were bindweed. And in so many ways, it is. It's articulating prejudice, and what is so extraordinary is the people who are going on so much about immigration are not actually affected by, quote, illegal immigration. Though they might well be affected by the change in their society, by the change in their towns, by the numbers of people whose origins are in Eastern Europe, whose origins are elsewhere. And that, I think, enriches our community. And what again is so extraordinary is how many of that community actually then go on and support Reform UK. Madness. Their Reform UK's strategy has been to concentrate their efforts on these key constituencies, and it's paid off with significant victories, including Richard Tice, as I say, in Boston and Skegness. And however their broader impact is probably not in those 4 seats that they won. It's in the 90 seats or so where they show a substantial spread of support, where they're coming second and further eroding the Conservative dominance in future elections. So it's about Farage and Tice making good on their achievements so far. And the implications for GBNews, where Farage and Tice both worked, where Farage was a prominent figure, and Rees-Mogg. I can't see that Rees-Mogg is going to have any prominence or allure in GBNews now he's no longer an MP. Because it's not as if he is the most spectacular presenter. He's a good presenter, but he's not made that move as Farage definitely did, from being a good presenter to being compelling viewing. But with Farage's departure from into Parliament to fully commit to his parliamentary role, I cannot see that he can continue his role in GB News, which leaves anchors like Tom Harwood and Benjamin Butterworth, both excellent, to play more central roles in maintaining the channel's appeal, developing the channel's appeal, because clearly there is an audience. And I think there's an audience for many different private TV channels, because the blandness of the BBC needs to be challenged by opinion. Facts are not presented as independent, sanitized facts. That's dullness, that's boredom. That is actually where the BBC is heading. Facts are about the Paxman vitality, the Dimbleby wink. You're not giving interesting news unless you're winking, and that sparkle in the eye, which is absent from modern BBC, absent completely. That sparkle of the Valerie Singletons. It goes all the way from children's TV up to the late night adult stuff, and it's absent. It's dull, and that's why I have been such a champion of GB News, not because I particularly admire the content, and actually Butterworth is hardly right wing, but Butterworth is the tame socialist in the camp, but it's that is where we need new and exciting television. And I would love to see Tom Harwood playing a bigger role, and Benjamin Butterworth playing a bigger role. Farage's influence on the channel was substantial. His absence will necessitate a strategic shift to retain viewership and credibility, and I hope GB News will be bright enough, clever enough, and creative enough to engineer that shift and keep pushing on, because our media is the worse for the dominance of blandness to conform to the tyranny of Ofcom. But overall, Reform's success under Farage's leadership not only impacts the Conservative Party, but it also signals potential shifts in the broader UK political landscape as the party prepares for future electoral contests and for the future for a future role in negotiating the realignment of our political landscape.